Monday, May 29th, and this is Geeknights. I have just returned from Animazement, and as it is the holiday, and in addition we are both very tired from the weekend, today is somewhat of a cop-out episode. Though we do have a fairly interesting discussion on patents during the news bits. For any and all of our new listeners who are coming here looking for actual coverage of Animazement, it will be on Wednesday, which is our normal anime day.
Let's do this.
I am back from a crazy-ass weekend. I'm absolutely exhausted. I flew in early afternoon on a little prop plane puddle jumper that took me back to Stewart Airport, and then I slept until I heard Scott come home.
You know, I came home well before you awoke, and you were still sleeping, so...
Well, I was awake, and then I went back to sleep.
No, because I came in the house, and you were completely knocked out, and then you didn't make a noise until I opened the door to look at you. And
well, actually, I woke up, and I saw I woke up, and I looked out the window, I saw your car pull in, then I went back to sleep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because, see, I opened your door, and then I closed it, and then you made a noise. and then you didn't come out. And then,
I spent the last 5 days getting not enough sleep and doing craziness.
I did a bunch of stuff while you weren't here.
I did more in, like, Friday night than you did all weekend, man.
Yeah, but all you did was you went to an anime convention. I did stuff.
Yeah, you did. All right.
I didn't just... That's like saying, man, I went on vacation. I did so much.
Yeah, except, let me put it this way. I will have my coverage of Animazement on Wednesday, Anime Day. Though first I'd like to say Animazement was freaking amazing. It was Animazing!
Not funny.
But it was a really freaking awesome convention. And I basically went from just being some schmuck going to being a panelist to being full-on staff over the course of maybe 6 hours. And I ended up basically being crowd control and security for the entirety of the convention.
It's good to be awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, I was surprised. They were really impressed with the way I handled lines and crowd control and security and the kinds of stuff we just kind of did back at RIT all the time.
Yep. You know, some things come naturally to some people, or you know how to do something, and other people, not so many people know how to do it. So you come across someone who's never seen anyone do it properly, so they don't know what's the real deal is. So you come around with what you consider to be basic skills, and it's like this one village where everyone has a bow and arrow and they know how to use it. And the other village, no one's ever seen a bow and arrow in their lives. So you go to the other village and they think you're some kind of crazy god with your bow and arrow skills. And yeah, it's a good analogy, I think.
Yeah, though, I mean, they do one thing really, really well in terms of how they actually set up lines and prevent people from standing in line that I'm going to really try to push to make Otakon do. Because holy shit, did it save time.
Always good to save time.
Yeah, they have this system of how to get people lined up for the cosplay. That's just fantastic.
Systems are good. The problem is, if the system requires more work, the more people you have, the more it breaks down. It's like when you try to get people... Here's another analogy, ready? It's analogy day. When you go to a sporting event, the more people you try to get to chant something in unison, the less complex that thing has to be.
But yet, this system, I'll talk about it in great depth on Wednesday, but basically it seems to scale, I'll say it, linearly... with the number of people. So for every 100 people in line, or actually for maybe 200 people in line, you'll need one staffer to manage them, give or take. That's my assessment, and I'm pretty sure it's a linear relationship.
That's good.
So we'll see. I'll push for it. But the staff of Animazement was awesome, and I will go every year forevermore. I will have crazy coverage, including all the interviews I did on Wednesday. So
you're actually gonna do it, or you cut up all that audio? Or are you just going to pretend that you're going to do it?
Well, I did it last time for the other time at Toricon.
Didn't that take you 2 weeks?
What?
No?
No?
I'm remembering incorrectly.
Katsucon was the one that was trouble because I used Scott Johnson's stupid tape recorder.
That's right.
And remember, I was sitting there and we discovered that I don't have a single working tape player in this house.
That's right.
As I took apart every single one of them and found them all to be broken.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we got it straight now.
I got some good interviews. I don't want to...
Any one particular interesting?
Actually, I interviewed a gaggle of somewhat cute to incredibly cute fangirls and one fanboy.
That's not very good.
No, it's actually a really good interview. Everyone was very excited about being interviewed for anything, so I tried to not do my standard, ask them about the con itself, and I tried to ask them more general questions about Why do you like anime? Why do you go to conventions? Why are you here? Why are you dressed up as a cat boy? And I got the same answer from everyone, even people who didn't know each other, and they gave the same answer that we always give, because geeks come together, and this is the only place where geeks can just be geeks and meet other geeks and be within our own culture.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got some good interviews. I met some interesting people, and the con was freaking amazing. Now, today's episode is going to be a little short, partly because a drawback of the con being amazing is that I didn't really sleep much for the last 5 days.
And I've been doing all sorts of other shit, like being on other people's podcasts and playing board games.
Yep.
And driving to my house. And yeah, so I don't have that much to go, and we don't have a main bit planned.
Yeah, today's going to be a little bit of a cop-out, but tomorrow we'll have a bunch of stuff. Wednesday is going to be super long. Thursday we'll probably have a bunch of stuff.
So we'll probably just do news, thing of the day, and then something else.
We'll talk until we run out of time.
Yep.
To any of our new listeners out there, because I know a lot of people, I printed out some flyers for Geeknights. I forgot.
One person already joined the forum who saw your flyer.
Really? Because I forgot
really.
to bring my stuff with me to the convention. Like, I left it here. I had a flyer already. I was gonna print at the hotel and pass out, like a nice one. No. So I actually commissioned an artist who was sitting next to me in the artist alley while I was manning the artist alley staff table for a while. And I commissioned her for the price of one coffee to dry me up a crick stick figure, little figure thing. And then I went to the hotel and actually got the business travelers discount and made a bunch of copies and put them all over the convention.
Oh, you should have commissioned a logo. We still need a logo.
I wasn't going to commission anything big. I was mostly busy doing other things.
Yeah, we're getting a couple more entries, but there's still nothing that's like, aha, that's the one.
Yeah, we've got one that we're real close to picking, but we want to see more. Remember, there's prizes involved and fame.
Yes, fame and cash.
Fame.
Well, how come every other podcast in the world gets like original theme music right away and an original cool logo right away, and we don't have that?
We'd have plenty of original music. The problem is we want jazz music, which I don't have the means to just create on my own.
All right, but every other podcast in the universe got like a real slick logo, real quick and easy. How come we can't do that?
Because we care a lot more about what our logo looks like, and we're real picky.
But they
and
have
anal.
good logos too, and
yeah, we're all picky and anal, and even when we like one, we're like, eh. People were posting. I looked through the forum briefly after my 5-day absence, and people seem to always talk about how we care a lot about production values and quality and professionalism. What do you want? We're nuts. We're fastidious.
Fastidious.
But yeah, consider this.
I'm fastidious.
From tomorrow until Thursday, consider this to be our week's coverage of the Memorial Day weekend, because we both had crazy weekends.
Yes, we did.
And once again, like I was saying before we got sidetracked, to all of our new listeners coming from Animazement, if you don't realize who I was at the convention, I was the long-haired staffer guy who was pushing people into lines and sitting in the artist alley. And many of you remember me as that tree guy or that elf guy in the tree, because I was quite literally sitting in a tree for much of the con.
And if you don't know who I am, I was the guy who wasn't there.
Yeah. Though, really, you should come to Animazement next year. That was a freaking awesome con.
I'm probably going to go to all the cons next year, just not this year.
Well, see, I'm laying the groundwork because we're probably going to go to every con now as panelists, staff, or guests.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every con we've been to so far has invited us back except UberCon, but they don't know that we were there. I never actually told them.
Lol.
Doesn't matter. I actually don't want to do stuff at UberCon. I want to play games at UberCon.
Yeah, tell me about it.
If we did stuff at UberCon, we couldn't play games. We'd be doing
No,
stuff.
I'm probably going to run some German board games at UberCon.
Yeah. If we get good enough by then, we should try to run a burning wheel.
You really can't compete with the master. If he wasn't there, I would do it.
No, even if he was there, I have this feeling that if we tried to run a burning wheel and Luke Crane knew about that, he would probably help out or think it was awesome.
No, he'd come over and be like, you guys doing it all wrong. Here, let me show you how it's done.
That's fine.
And he'd be like, thanks.
Yeah. All right, anyway, today's a cop-out, as you said multiple times.
Yep.
So we got some news, though.
Okay, my news. Apparently, DirectX 10 will be available only on Windows Vista.
All right, I guess I won't ever be seeing DirectX 10 related things.
Me either. It's kind of weird since everything else that Windows Vista is bringing, such as support for, well, like Internet Explorer 7, those Windows photo files, all this other stuff that they're putting into Vista, they're releasing packages so that you can install it on XP. And it's like the new Windows Media Player, I think, is going to be for XP, you know. But they're not bringing DirectX 10 to XP. This means that when their games will eventually come out that require DirectX 10, and those games won't work on Windows XP, period. Also, if you get a video card that say DirectX 10 features, you won't be able to take advantage of those features without Windows Vista. You'll basically be stuck in DirectX 9 land forever. And you might as well just buy the best DirectX 9 video card in the universe and use that and never get a better one unless you're going to get Vista.
See, I'm starting to think that for a long time, people would use Windows and people would use Linux, and most people who used Linux would use both. And it wasn't that hard to do, and that way you could get the best of both worlds, and there were things you needed Windows for, and there wasn't that much of a divergence. Like, people who used Linux primarily still used Windows fairly often for some things.
Like games.
I think we're going to start seeing with Vista the beginning of a actual schism where people who use Linux don't have access to Windows at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that's going to segment the market or force maybe change on the behalf of Microsoft or developers.
Well, there are really only two things that tie people to Microsoft Windows anymore. Those two things are, one, PC games. Now, the Xbox 360 is doing a lot to fix that problem. And two are those proprietary applications you need at work, such as my uncle with the dentist's office and the software that gets the pictures out of the X-ray, or you work for the real estate agent, you have the special real estate software that only works on Windows,
or
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that tab work crap I had to deal with at
yes.
IBM.
And those things are slowly and frequently being replaced with SQL, databases with websites, LAMP things. I mean, that's what my company does. We have a lot of those things, and they just keep replacing a lot of the shit with LAMP. Someone makes a database and a web interface, and it replaces that proprietary real estate application, or it replaces that X-ray application. And as people do that more and more, it doesn't matter what their client machines are. And as more people get 360s and Wiis and whatnot, it doesn't matter what their client computer is. And as the same, more and more frequently we see, no matter what computer you have, Mac, Windows, Linux, you run Firefox. No matter what computer you have, using AIM. No matter what computer you have, using Gmail. So it matters a lot less what the OS is nowadays. And Microsoft is really going to have to rely on things like Office, which is why they're scared to shit of the open document format. Because that'll be the end of Office also.
Yep.
So yeah. I'm not going to get Vista, which means any game that requires DirectX 10 will only be played by me if it's Xbox 360 and I actually buy one of those things.
Yeah, which is kind of scary that we're considering it.
Well, because $400 seemed like so much until this PS3 came along.
Yeah.
It was actually
goddamn.
There was actually a poll. It wasn't a super scientific poll, but it was better than just a shit website poll.
It wasn't a Slashdot poll.
No,
was
it wasn't. No, and they asked people what system they planned on buying. Now, I'm not sure what the sample was, but it was a pretty big sample. I think it was mostly gamers, and 50% of people said they're going to have an Xbox 360 and a Wii. 25% of people said Wii only. Oh, yeah. That's looking good to me.
I'm feeling it.
Whee!
Though, actually, I'll note that the demographics, there's been a lot of debate in our forums lately about PSP use versus DS use and the popularity therein. And I am
thereof.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Mr.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right. Let's go.
It's a lazy day. I saw about 10 DSs and 2 PSPs at Animazement, which is the highest ratio of PSP to DS I've ever seen at a con.
That's more than I've ever seen.
And I guess I've noticed that, outside of the major, large conventions, urban centers in the Northeast and urban centers in the Midwest and, California, the PSP does seem to be more popular outside of those areas and less popular in those areas.
But when it comes down to straight numbers, the other thing is the DS is popular where you have friends. In the middle of nowhere, you have no friends. So a PSP, that's where it has an advantage in the middle of nowhere.
Though honestly, I did notice one thing interesting.
Mhm.
At every other con I've gone to, there'd always be like huge circles of people playing DSs together. I came across one such circle at Animazement, and I thought, all right, I'll sit down and play some games with these kids and then interview them.
Little Tetris, little Mario Kart.
They were all playing with one exception. They were all playing like one-player games on their own, and two of them, I think, they were Animal Crossing trading.
Huh.
However, later, to make up for that, because I thought, maybe people here aren't so much into the gaming, while I was sitting in that tree watching the cosplay line, there was this huge group of people all playing Bomberman.
All right, Bomberman.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever see anyone else playing Bomberman besides us.
They were into it in the same way that we are.
All right.
Yeah, I really
were they
got
going for the crown, or were they going for the?
I think they were
revenge?
playing random, meaning every round was different, and they were yelling and screaming and walking around in line, and it was good.
Oh, good. All right, so that's my news. What's your news?
Oh yeah, news.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, this is real quick, and this is actually from Friday, but there's been a lot of talk about, JPEG, the image format that is pretty much the standard on the internet for many things.
Oh yeah, you don't know that on Thursday, I talked when you weren't here.
No?
I talked about the Windows Media Photo, or the Windows. There's a new Microsoft wants to make a new format to replace.
Actually, Scott,
JPEG.
I did know. I didn't listen to the episode, but I read your post.
Oh, okay.
And in addition to that, I read an article about it.
Yeah, I talked about how JPEG puns.
Good. Now I don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, JPEG puns.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but in terms of bang for your buck, JPEG is pretty solid.
Yeah. Windows Media, whatever it's going to be called, photo, just to call it Microsoft Photo format, might be better technologically than JPEG.
You know what? VQF was better technologically than MP3.
That's right.
What
Betamax.
Yeah, but anyway, the problem with JPEG, which was also a problem with GIF back in the day,
You
is
mean
that
GIF?
it's GIF.
GIF and Ubuntu.
Yeah, you know what? I've never met anyone who called him a GIF non-ironically.
Well, GIF is actually the correct pronunciation if you search for it on the internet.
Oh yeah, according to that's like the people who say no, it's GNU Linux.
Oh.
It's the same deal. No one in the real world says GIF.
Yep, but GIF is the technical correct pronunciation.
I find it interesting that when it comes to GIF versus GIF, it's been my experience that super nerds, not to disparage anyone out there, and people who are not technological at all are the primary people who say GIF as opposed to GIF.
You know what GIF is? A peanut butter brand. That's what GIF is.
GIF is some popcorn, Jiffy Puff, Jiffy Pop.
Yep. GIF doesn't mean anything except image format. Therefore, if whoever decided...
Oh, I get very simple. You realize that GIF stands for what, graphical or graphics interchange format?
Graphic.
Yeah,
If.
it's a hard G. You don't alter the pronunciation of a letter in an acronym.
Woohoo!
Well, I guess...
Damn straight.
And while we're at it, it's gerrymandering, you pig fuckers.
And here comes everyone with their counterexamples of where we do it the wrong way.
Yeah, which is fine.
That's fine. There's
Ubuntu.
nothing wrong with being a hypocrite if you accept it.
Ubuntu. Yeah, from now on, we're going to call it GNU Linux every time.
Nope, sorry, GNU Linux.
Yep. Because his name is Linus, or I've heard him say it because I saw an interview like Linux once.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the thing, is every interview with Linus Torvalds I've ever heard, I've never heard one. I've always read one.
Yeah.
I've never heard him talk, ever.
I heard one once, but I'm not sure if it was him or someone paraphrasing because it was a short bit.
We got to get some audio of him saying it. However he says it is the correct way.
You know what?
I might not accept it. I might still say GIF, even though I know GIF is correct. But I just want to hear it to know.
Anyway, there were patent concerns because people own the rights to GIF back then, and there are people who have patents that cover stuff that's in JPEG. The major one of those patents that this company looks like they were trying to use this to make people pay for the fact that they use JPEG was totally thrown out by the patent office.
Haha.
So I believe the company's name was Fogents, and they had a patent that covered JPEG.
Are they just one of those patent companies, or
Yes.
they're actually an image company?
Well, the reason, I think this will answer that. The reason it was thrown out is that prior art existed, which is fine, and they might not have thrown it out right away, or they might have allowed them to amend it or something. but it was shown that they were fully aware of that prior art and chose not to disclose it to the patent office.
Punned.
Yeah, there is no chance that they were not up to something shady. See, the patent office is good when someone like points out to them that a patent is bad and there's money involved, because then they'll deal with it.
The problem is that there's so many things that are patented that there isn't a wide enough body of knowledge at the patent office to know about every single patent. So when they get a patent about image file formats, there isn't an image file format expert at the patent office, so they don't know.
Yeah.
So they just say yes.
Now, they have a solution to this. I talked about it in the news a while ago, but real briefly, for anyone who didn't catch that episode, they've got an idea to kind of have an open source. They call it this open something initiative. I forget exactly the details, but they want to have pending patents and patents that exist available on the website, and have bounties for experts with free time, like us when we sit around bored, to read over patents that are in our field of expertise and just point out prior art problems, or here's why this patent is stupid, or here's why this patent should be invalidated.
See, if they would have set that up when I was in college, I would have spent my time going over there finding bogus patents, and then eventually, they'd probably realize, hey, this guy did this 1,000 times, and I'd be a patent clerk right now instead of nothing.
Yeah, Einstein was a patent clerk.
He was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Very good patent clerk.
I call this Johnson's theory of relativity.
Wham!
Yeah, but in terms of patents, I mean, I think you all know my opinions on the Curtin patent system, especially considering that my former company is still trying to get a patent for me on something that I did for them that is basically 15 or 20 lines of bash scripting.
I got one thing to say about the patent system. It's no worse than the copyright system.
You know what? I would submit that the patent system as it is more damaging to the economy and to the betterment and advancement of humankind than copyright is. Because violating copyright has only actually hurt in terms of people who violate it get caught. Very few people. And when property rights that are intellectual as opposed to real or involving something scientific are violated, it's very hard to actually gauge how many losses there are. I mean, how can you say how many copies of a CD would have sold if you couldn't get it free? There's no way to know. With patents, people are prevented from taking a thing that is known how to make and making it better, or manufacturing it, or advancing it in any way.
That's correct.
I mean, they're not technically prevented, but
you're allowed to advance it. You're just not allowed to...
Well, even if you advance it, you still have to pay license fees for the original thing.
Yeah. As long as you don't utilize the original within a certain amount of time. Good thing is, though, that the term of a patent is rather short relative to a copyright. It doesn't take long for the patent to run out so everyone can make it for free.
It's still too long, though.
It is still too long. It should be a year. As technology progresses faster and faster, the term should get shorter and shorter.
Or if we had money to pay the patent office people properly, make it an indeterminate sum with a minimum and a maximum, and then the patent office decides how long the patent should be based on the merits of the invention and the economic and scientific situation at the time.
Yeah, if you look at something like the washing machine hasn't really changed technologically rather long time, and it's pretty economically important. I mean, there's a big business around washing machine making, and it's still the same business it was a bunch of years ago. So that could be a rather long patent. But something like...
I don't know if that's something that should be a long patent, though.
By long, I mean 5 years.
Oh, all right.
By long, I mean the limit they have now, not 50 years or 100 years, but something like an image file format, or something that's going to, needs to change really quickly. I mean, like MP3 files. That patent should last, I don't know, a week. You get the idea.
Yeah. I mean, in the very least, if they could look at the patents and decide which ones are actually patentable as opposed to which ones aren't, and really do that instead of just kind of rubber stamping
And also,
everything.
You shouldn't be able to patent something without physically having it. None of this patenting perpetual motion machine business that everyone does. If you can't produce it physically right now, you can't patent it. That's what Scott says.
I say if you can show that it can be done.
Yeah, okay, you don't actually have to do it. It just has to be able to be done. Because let's say I invented a machine in, Mechanical Desktop, which is a program kind of like CAD that lets you draw machines and actually make the machines work on the computer. If I can make it in Mechanical Desktop and, There exist manufacturing processes to create the device. I just don't have the $5 million required to create the machine. I should still be able to patent it. It just has to be able to be made right now. So let's say I make a machine on the computer and I design it and it requires, some metal that we can't actually produce. Then that doesn't count because we can't actually produce it no matter how much money we have. But as soon as we
I'm going to patent having an adamantium skeleton.
Exactly. You can't do that. You can patent having an iron skeleton. I don't know why you'd want to.
Well, the other really ass thing about the patent system is that, say Scott and I are both, we're rivals, and we're working on patents for, magic light bulb thingy. And we're both, working on the invention furiously.
Edison.
Now, say I finish, I come up with it, and I make it work, 5 minutes before Scott does. Scott lives in California, I live in New York. And mine works, and I'm done. And I run out the door to the patent office. And Scott finishes his 5 minutes later, and he runs out to the door to the patent office. But I got to the patent office first. I get the patent, he gets nothing, he has absolutely no rights, and in fact, it is illegal for him to continue doing what he just did.
Yep.
That is crap.
It is total crap.
In the very least, there should be a system of, if people develop something independently, then they should be able to
There
get a
needs
share.
to be a window. So if someone comes up with something, right, and submits it to the patent office, because the way patents work is once a patent is going, they show it to everyone. It's not like copyright where you keep it secret. A patent is shown to the world, So if I patent some machine, you can go to the website and get the design for that machine. You can go to the patent office and say, hey, can I look at this patent? And they'll show you the complete plans to my patented machine. They'll just show it to you.
It's the exact, the two ways to protect something in the corporate world are patents and trade secrets.
Mm-hmm.
A patent is what Scott just said. A trade secret, you choose not to patent it, meaning it's not protected in any way. And if someone figures it out or steals it from you, they can use it with just as much rights as you have.
But you're keeping it secret, and if anyone steals the secret with corporate espionage, that's criminal. So they have to come up with it on their own.
Or they can steal it if they do it in certain ways. Legal loopholes and all that stuff.
Or they pay you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, what they should do is when you submit a patent, it should stay secret for some period of time if anyone else is known to be working, especially if anyone else is known to be working on similar things. Or maybe you can tell the patent office, hey, I'm working on something kind of like this. And if a bunch of people say they're doing that, and then they get all the submissions within a certain window of time, then you get a part of all the same patent. They make one big patent and you all share it, or something like that.
I guess my main beef is that the Constitution and the way the patent system was originally set up was that, and copyright too, was that it's supposed to be to foster innovation and generally work toward the common good.
Mm-hmm. It says that right in the Constitution.
And
in fact, under the powers of Congress enumerated.
I really don't care how the patent system is set up. All I care about is that at least the people who enact it or who run it or who decide how it is done, if they would just think to themselves, or at least say that what they're doing they think is for the common good, or try to do things for the common good as opposed to just doing it for money or maintaining the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
I give someone credit if they try and fail than if they never try. Usually. I
think the argument that I've made before is that if this very day we completely eliminated patents and copyrights, it wouldn't hinder the fostering of innovation really that much. People are innovating of their own will without copyrights or patents at all.
Well, it's like the people who don't understand how open source software can exist. Yep. I only bring it up because I came up over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Evan, tell me about that.
Yeah, it's kind of relevant, so I'll talk about it now. Evan he works for some people, and basically he was explaining to someone open source free software and how it's free, and she didn't believe him. She didn't believe that people would actually make things without compensation simply for the joy of it.
A lot of old people don't believe it. They like, why would you do that? We're like, because we're not fucking evil fucks who care about only money and ourselves, and we like to share, just like you told us on Sesame Street.
No, in fact, you know what we are? We're my thing of the day, bitch.
Down, down, down.
So with my unsubtle segue, you probably all remember I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, which was my thing of the day a while ago.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Shoot with my pimp cane. Ah, yeah. Well, it's back, and I'm sure you might have seen this in the news, but if not, I went to see probably the worst movie I have ever sat through in a theater, X-Men 3.
Okay, so it's not the worst movie you've ever seen. It's just the worst you've sat all the way through in a theater.
Yeah, I mean, I've walked out of movies before. I've turned movies off. I sat all the way through Clifford, but that wasn't in a theater. That was in my house.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was ass for reasons that I won't get into. Maybe we'll do a show on comic book movies someday.
Maybe, yeah, that'd be pretty good.
In fact, we will.
I haven't seen many of them. I saw the first X-Men and didn't know why everyone else liked it a lot more than I did. I saw Hellboy, which was kind of normal-ish.
We saw V.
V was it was probably the best one.
You know what? Well, I'll put in the Netflix queue, and I'll put them to the top, all the comic book movies we haven't seen.
But you have to see some of the old Superman movies.
I've seen some of them.
Yeah? You didn't see enough of them.
No, I haven't.
No.
I'll put all those
I haven't
in
seen
too.
enough of them either.
And then we'll do a show on that. If anyone out there really...
I also had to see... Isn't the second Spider-Man movie supposed to be good?
Yeah, it is.
Because the first one was good.
I
didn't see the second one. Is there a third one?
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
out of the movie loop. But X-Men 3 is terrible. Don't go see it.
Too late. They already went to see it.
If you didn't go to see it yet, I'm going to spoil it right now. Spoiler, 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 spoiler. I was going to lone gunman it, but I decided not to because we do have some new listeners who don't realize how, I don't know, asshole-ish we are sometimes. Jean Grey is killed by Wolverine, but she tries to have sex with him, and they kill Scott Summers in the very beginning of the movie, and just for no reason, and they kill Professor X, and they take away Magneto's powers, and the movie's just dumb. But anyway...
I just want to say, anyone out there, if you have never read X-Men comics, or you haven't read X-Men comics old ones containing the real X-Men stories, because modern X-Men comics aren't the real deal. Go to like Borders, and they have these big black books, and they say Essential X-Men on the side of them. Not Essential Uncanny X-Men, not Essential X-Men Classic, just Essential X-Men. The second volume of that is $10, just $10, possibly even less than $10. It's huge. It's got like a hajillion comics in it, and it contains the real X-Men stories that you need to read. And once you read those, go back and watch these movies a little bit.
You know what? If you want to see the best X-Men that's, in my opinion, ever really been done, check out the Fox cartoon.
Fox cartoon rules.
That was X-Men, as far as I'm concerned.
As far as I'm concerned, because, yeah, the X-Men that I read was the X-Men of the early 90s, which a lot of people consider to be the worst X-Men. But that was when I was a kid, so that's what I, think is the real deal.
But anyway, obviously, while it is Monday and it is Science and Tech Day, we are just kind of rambling.
Yay, rambling. Oh, my thing of the day?
I didn't even do my thing of the day.
Oh.
I didn't say anything yet. I just said,
Okay, we'll finish it up.
So in this movie, the Juggernaut is in it. And you've all seen my On the Juggernaut Bitch video. In the movie, the Juggernaut says the line, "Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch."
Awesome.
I'm reasonably certain that the scene where the Juggernaut says this was added into the movie because of the I'm the Juggernaut bitch movie that has been out on the internet. I'm very certain that it was not the other way around because the people who made that video, there's no way they could have known that that line was in the movie.
I don't think there was a way they knew either, unless the video was made by someone who works on the movie.
Yeah, I'm just, because the X-Men movie was really, there were so many things they threw in that were just for super nerds. Like, those are the Morlocks, aren't they? Yeah, but they don't even say anything about that. They're just there.
It seems like a lot of the comic book movies, they want to bring in the mass populace, but they don't want to alienate the nerds. So they take all the nerdy stuff and they put it in the background where the nerds go ooh and ah and get crazy over it. And in the foreground is just the normal stuff that the normal people can get, and without being alienated and scared away by scary nerdy things.
But yeah, I linked to the clip from the X-Men movie of the Juggernaut saying his line.
Awesome.
That's pretty much the only... Now, the best part was we're in the theater, me, Evan, and Nuri, and we're watching this after the con, so we're all exhausted. And the movie was ass, and we're just sitting there periodically looking at each other when something stupid happens, like, what? But then, when the Juggernaut said that line, we exploded laughing. And laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing.
Anyone else?
No.
Awesome.
The entire theater, everyone turned around. They were looking at us with this, what the fuck?
What you have not been on to internets.
I think we were the only 3 people in the theater who had any idea why that was funny.
That's awesome. Okay, so I always go for the Nintendo commercials and whenever I can, and here is yet another one. But this isn't advertising Nintendo. Well, I guess it kind of is indirectly. This is an advertisement for some furikake. Furikake is some sort of rice topping. You put it on rice.
Furikake.
No, it's furikake.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know.
this is a ad for some brand of furikake in Japan, and the ad features animated Mario.
It's a me,
Princess and
Mario.
Koopa. And it's a pretty funny advertisement, because apparently it's not mushrooms, but furikake that makes Mario grow big. And the guy, it's funny when the Japanese guy says, Super Mario Brothers furikake. It's hilarious.
I gotta keep resisting. I keep wanting to talk about the convention, but I'm gonna try to save that for my actual coverage on Wednesday.
All right, well, we don't have a tech topic today. Sorry.
You know what? We kind of did. We talked about patents enough.
All right, sure.
So I'll say that this show was about patents.
Cool. No, so, we didn't, we don't have a real tech topic for today.
Yeah,
So
I'm going straight to bed.
Yeah, we're going to say the stuff we have to say and put this episode up. The first thing I have to say is that Friday I was on one of our listeners' podcasts called The Friday Night Party Line. The guy's name is Thayed. I think I pronounced it right. Sorry.
Okay, Aprici.
Yeah. I think it's his real name. I'm not sure.
Huh.
I'm sure now he's going to listen to this and tell me. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
If you want to hear me in my terrible Logitech headset audio quality, of course, his audio quality is great. It's just my voice is terrible because I'm using Logitech headset. If you want to hear me on someone else's podcast discussing the stuff they wanted to talk about, go to THAED.libsyn.com, and episode 9 contains me in it. Perhaps in the future, me and/or Rim will be on his podcast or some other podcasts, as guests and such for Awesome.
Yep. I mean,
and
honestly,
we will always let you know.
Now that I've gone to Animazement, I actually have some free weekends until, Otakon and everything in August. So we might actually be doing a lot more fun stuff with the podcast now that I have freaking free time.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
Of course, the sun will also be out, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I flew down to North Carolina, God. And the weather was beautiful and hot. It was like 95
South Carolina's
degrees.
scary. Don't go there.
But I came back here, and it was just as hot. Though when I had left here, it was actually kind of chilly.
Yep. Pretty much as soon as you left, this insane heat and humidity set in. Right behind you.
Yep. I mean, I came home, and I walked into the house, and I said, wow. And I immediately put my air conditioner in the window.
Did you notice that mine was in the window?
I did indeed.
Before you put yours in or after?
Nope, because I walked into my room, I put mine in, and then I noticed that the screen for your window, just as I noticed that my screen, I had to pull it out of the window again, and there was a bug stuck to it.
Yeah, my screen is downstairs under the stairs room.
I noticed it when I was looking for the foamy bit to stick in my window, which I couldn't find, so I have a towel stuck in there now.
I got my foamy bit still.
Yeah, I have mine. I just got to find it.
So air conditioners, everyone should have an air conditioner unless you live somewhere awesome, somewhere sucky because it's cold.
Honestly, I don't really like to use air conditioners much. I'd rather get the nice smells outside and the nice breeze at night. I really only use an air conditioner if it's hot and humid and I'm trying to sleep. I don't mind just hot humid. I don't even use the air conditioner in my car broke and I could have fixed it. It would have been cheap. I just never bothered because I don't care.
To be honest, I put the air conditioner in my room this weekend more for the computers than for me.
Yeah, your room is basically our data center right now.
I mean, I was a little bit hot, but I wasn't too, a fan would have done just fine. At one point, it got a little cooler outside. I opened the window, I was just fine. But the computer was getting pissed off, really pissed off. So I'm like, fine, I'll put the damn air conditioner in.
You know what? Yeah, think about when we started the podcast so long ago. That wasn't during the heat. So the listeners have never heard the alarm on my computer that goes off when it starts overheating.
Uh-oh. If that alarm goes off, the only thing we can do is restart your computer and wait. So,
don't know. I already fixed that. I set the threshold significantly higher, and the alarm stopped going off.
That's right.
Just like I solved the loud case fan problem by unplugging the case fan.
Awesome.
Luckily, my computer's so old and slow, it hasn't complained much, and it's really not overheating.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a problem since you have the side of the case open and the air conditioning on.
Yeah. Though, I mean, many a time I'd be playing Counter-Strike at RIT where we didn't have air conditioning, and suddenly, bee-boo, 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 bee-boo.
It's really when you try to use the video card, but remember your GeForce 2 isn't in there anymore.
Yeah, because it exploded. Now
So that's going to help out a lot with the heat problem.
Yeah, because I've noticed I only ever had heat problems when I played games, and the CPU and the video card were both maxed out.
Yep, now you have a shitty TNT2 in there that doesn't make heat.
Yeah, your TNT2 actually, which was one hell of a piece of equipment back in the day.
Oh man, was that thing awesome? It's still awesome.
Hey,
You can play Half-Life 1 and lesser games with it.
Yep, I currently can't get the 3D to work in Linux, but that's partly because I didn't try, and there's something funky with the NVIDIA driver I'm using currently.
Yeah.
Because I had to use a special NVIDIA driver to make my GeForce 2 GTS work.
So my parents have the onboard video card in their computer, and it has a little problem, I think, because there's green dots all over the screen, and it doesn't matter what monitor you use, there's still green dots. So I think I'm going to buy them an AGP card to go in the slot.
Buy them the GeForce 4 that we got downstairs. That thing was like
Newegg
$20.
has some GeForce 4s for $25. I'm thinking about buying 2 or 3 of them. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll probably go in on that. It's good to have a couple video cards laying around.
Yeah, they're $25 AGP video cards. I think we should buy a couple.
We got to buy more network cable, too.
Yeah.
I'll get on that at some point.
All right.
Yeah, so anyway, we're going to wrap it up today. Normally the show is a little more structured, but we at least once or twice a month have a cop-out day.
Yeah, you try doing a podcast 4 nights a week and never copping out. And even every webcomic does some sketch day, even Penny Arcade. And they only do 3 nights, with the Penny Arcade comics. So imagine doing 4. Once in a while, you gotta just not do a real episode. You should be glad we do anything.
Yeah, I mean, we debated early on, like we considered dropping back early on to 3 shows a week instead of 4.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day.
Yeah, we don't stop we've done 117 times about an hour worth of original internet content. Plus all the extra episodes that you'll never hear.
Yeah, a lot of those 5-day-a-week podcasts, they don't actually do full hours of podcasting. They do crap. They do like a minute show or something.
Yeah, we're mainly
half-hour
just
show.
Rationalizing the fact that we do all this work for all of you.
Yep.
It's fun. We like it. We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't like it.
Let's see, what else?
We're also padding out this episode a little bit, so we're kind of just drawing on anything we can think of.
Yep. On Saturday, I played board games all day. I could talk about that on Tuesday.
Yep. Wednesday, I will talk about Animazement.
On Sunday and today, I was at my parents' house, and I ate food, hung out, set someone up with DSL.
On Thursday, I'd like to talk about the airline industry.
You want to talk about airlines on Thursday?
Yes, I want to talk about airlines because I didn't talk about it today, and goddamn, have I never in my life flown anywhere without complications.
Goddamn, have I never had a complication while flying.
Because you fly JetBlue.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? JetBlue doesn't go to half the places I want to go.
I don't go to those places. I just go wherever JetBlue takes me.
If you want to go to all these cons with me next year, you're going to be flying on some not JetBlue airlines.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to be flying on the broken flight. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we will see. You'll see how I do it.
We're flying out of Stewart for everything, first off, because screw JFK.
Nope, screw that. I'm going to JFK.
What? All right, fine.
That way I won't have the shitty-ass delayed broken flights.
Actually, the delays had nothing to do with Stewart. The delays were just U.S. Air.
There's your mistake right there.
U.S. Air has the cheapest flights, and they're the only ones who fly to the places I wanted to go at the times I wanted to go for
I'm
any
willing to
reasonable
pay a
amount of
little
money.
bit more to have a flight that doesn't have a problem.
No, you realize you don't get to pick if it has a problem or not.
I do.
And it's not a little bit more. The difference between flying U.S. versus flying someone else was like $200 more.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have a little competition where we both fly from wherever we want to the same destination and see who gets there first, leaving this house at the same time.
That doesn't work because I take flights based on price, not on when they leave. Hence, I went to Animazement Thursday morning and I came back today.
Well, we'll see.
Because that saved me another couple. It would have been, to get the exact perfect flight, the flight that went there Thursday night and came back Monday morning and was a direct flight and everything, would have cost me about $600 round trip.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I paid about $200 round trip.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had to do was get delayed for an hour in Philly. And then get delayed for an hour in Philly. I got delayed going in, got delayed coming back. And both delays were exactly 1 hour.
Oh, you got a DS. It's all good.
Yeah, I also got free drinks on the flight back to Stewart as a consolation for the fact that
We
I was
haven't done an
inconvenienced.
episode on New Mario Brothers, have we?
Nah, but we'll probably do that later because I'm sure we'll have enough gaming to talk about tomorrow as it is. Because remember, I'm going to cover the video gaming at Animazement tomorrow as
Are
opposed
those
to...
video gaming there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
My last bit about Animazement, because it's all trying to just spew out of my mouth, and I'm trying to hold it in. Plus, I want to go over my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. Animazement is a small con. Remember we did our series on anime conventions? And we kind of broke it up into there's 3 levels of convention, like the small con, the mid-size con, and then the gargantuan con. Like, early Ohio Con is the lower one, Anime Central is the mid one, and like Otakon, Anime Expo are the third ones.
Mm-hmm.
Animazement is as big and awesome as a small con can be. It's like the absolute top of a one hotel small con.
Mm-hmm.
They have about 3,000 and change people show up. They really can't expand without becoming the next level of convention.
I guess they might have to step it up.
The thing is, because they're that big, yet they're still a small con, they have all the benefits of a big con. You know, the full-on gaming room, the good cosplay, I don't want to say good, but as good as they're going to be, given how good AMVs are today, AMV contest. And there are actually some clever
You
ones.
made it funny.
Actually, the best music video at all of the con, and I'll leave you all with this, was to Char from Original Gundam.
Great.
And it was just some polka song.
The Gundam polka.
It was... I'll probably do a 2-hour show on Wednesday.
Well, good. I won't have to talk so much, and then I can come back next week with some big somethings.
Yep. Once
Probably-
again, welcome all of our new listeners.
Yep. If you're a new listener, make sure you go to frontrowcrew.com.
Yes, and join the forum, which actually is very lively.
Yeah, more people keep joining constantly. It's getting out of control now.
Yeah, I mean, we started the forum way, way back when we started Geeknights, and we told all our friends to join, and...
It slowly kind of didn't do anything.
Because our friends...
It's like a false start.
Because our friends we all just talk to each other. We don't need a forum.
Yep.
And then we started getting listeners. And after a couple of weeks, all these people we didn't know joined the forums. And now the forums are self-sustaining. Like, I come back after 5 days, and there's all these posts, and it's great.
Mm-hmm. I check it every day just because I have nothing to do at work.
Yeah, I got stuff to do at work now.
Yep.
Plus, I haven't even followed up on the news from the weekend. I didn't even check my email until I got back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I saw there's a bunch of emails from fans and listeners. Scott, did you take care of those? Did you answer them or anything?
Some of them, yeah.
All right.
The ones that were important. I actually read a bunch of fan emails on Thursday.
All right, because I saw a bunch there, and I wondered if we really try to be good, and if someone talks to us, at least remember that if you send us an email, we do read them all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it may take a while, but we read them all. We may not respond because we don't have time to do that, but we read them.
Yeah, the only ones we got lately were like, hey, check out this cool thing, and that sort of email.
Yeah, well, I got a couple shills again, I see.
Did we get some shills? Maybe they're in my spam folder.
Yeah, I got some shills in a foreign language about some music.
Oh, really?
But I saw the word podcast in there.
Mm-hmm.
So they know we're a podcast, but they want us to shill some music from Spain, I think.
We're not going to shill Spanish music, sorry.
No. We're not going to shill that book either.
We should, the thing is I would anti-shill things, say don't buy this. But
No,
then
remember what happened with Kagehime?
Yep.
We said, don't watch Kagehime. It's a terrible, disturbing anime. All our listeners watched it, and then they posted, wow, that was horrible. Well, I shouldn't have watched that.
So when someone comes to us and says, hey, we have a product, tell your listeners, to buy it. We're going to, if we tell our listeners not to buy it, some of them are going to buy it. So we have to just not say anything at all unless we actually want to shill it out. And if we shill it out, we'll let you know.
Yep, so I guess last and least, for all of you who came looking for Animazement coverage, the format of our show is generally that Mondays are science and technology days. Tuesdays are gaming in general. Wednesdays, anime. So Wednesday, I'm going to have my full press coverage of the convention, including all my interviews, all my stories, the traffic jam, the cosplay, everything.
And on Thursday, we do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, which apparently is probably going to be airlines, unless something happens until any time before Thursday.
And of course, email us, geeknights@frontrowcrew.com.
Yep. Or geeknights@gmail.com. I guess that still works.
They go to the same bin. It doesn't matter.
All my email accounts filter into one account now.
It's the same email. Geeknights at whatever.
Or if you want to complain about Scott, rim@frontrowcrew.com.
Yeah, you can complain about Rim APRECHE@frontrowcrew.com.
Yeah, it's funny how I guess stage name is also my real name, so I'm Rim everywhere online except for places where I don't want people to know who I am.
I'm APRECHE everywhere online. Absolutely everywhere I'm online, that's my name. No one else has that name.
Except here on Geek Nights where you are Scott.
Well, that's my real name.
Yeah.
That's the name I use in flesh.
See, I use the same name everywhere except work. Work is where my name is my real name.
Uh-huh.
Well, not my real name, my given name, my legal name, my name.
El nombre.
All right, the cop-out episode has finished.
Oh, wait, nombre. It's Yamo. Whatever. I forget Spanish.
Good game.
I haven't spoken Spanish since high school. What do you want from me?
Je m'appelle Rim.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geek Nights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geek Nights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Every year forevermore, I will have crazy coverage, including all the interviews I did on Wednesday. So
you're actually going to do it, or you cut up all that audio? Or are you just going to pretend that you're going to do it?
Well, I did it last time for the other time at Toricon.
Didn't it take you 2 weeks?
What?
No?
No?
I'm remembering incorrectly.
Katsucon was the one that was trouble because I used Scott Johnson's stupid tape recorder.
That's right. And
remember, I was sitting there and we discovered that I don't have a single working tape player in this house.
That's right.
As I took apart every single one of them and found them all to be broken.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we got it straight now.
I got some good interviews. I don't want to...
Any one particular interesting?
Actually, I interviewed a gaggle of somewhat cute to incredibly cute fangirls and one fanboy.
That's not very good.
No, it's actually a really good interview. Everyone was very excited about being interviewed for anything, so I tried to not do my standard, ask them about the con itself, and I tried to ask them more general questions about, why do you like anime? Why do you go to conventions? Why are you here? Why are you dressed? Try to push to make Otakon do, because holy shit did it save time.
Always good to save time.
Yeah, they have this system of how to get people lined up for the cosplay. That's just fantastic.
Systems are good. The problem is, if the system requires more work, the more people you have, the more it breaks down. It's like when you try to get people. Here's another analogy. Ready? It's analogy day. When you go to a sporting event, the more people you try to get to chant something in unison, the less complex that thing has to be.
But yet, this system, I'll talk about it in great depth on Wednesday. But basically, it seems to scale. I'll say it linearly. With the number of people. So for every 100 people in line, or actually for maybe 200 people in line, you'll need one staffer to manage them, give or take. That's my assessment, and I'm pretty sure it's a linear relationship.
That's good.
So we'll see. I'll push for it. But the staff of Animazement was awesome, and I will go.
And then you didn't make a noise until I opened the door to look at you. And
actually, I woke up. And I saw I woke up and I looked out the window. I saw your car pull in. Then I went back to sleep.
Yeah. Because see, I opened your door and then I closed it, and then you made a noise, and then you didn't come out. And
I spent the last 5 days getting not enough sleep and doing craziness.
I did a bunch of stuff while you weren't here.
I did more in Friday night than you did all weekend, man.
Yeah, but all you did was you went to an anime convention. I did stuff.
Yeah, you did. All right.
I didn't just... It's like saying, man, I went on vacation. I did so much.
Yeah, except, let me put it this way. I will have my coverage of Animazement on Wednesday, Anime Day. Though first I'd like to say Animazement was freaking amazing. It was Animazing!
Not funny.
But it was a really freaking awesome convention. And I basically went from just being some schmuck going to being a panelist to being full on staff over the course of maybe 6 hours. And I ended up basically being crowd control and security for the entirety of the convention.
It's good to be awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, I was surprised. They were really impressed with the way I handled lines and crowd control and security and the kinds of stuff we just kind of did back at RIT all the time.
Yep. Some things come naturally to some people, or you know how to do something, and other people, not so many people know how to do it. So you come across someone who's never seen anyone do it properly, so they don't know what's the real deal is. So you come around with what you consider to be basic skills, and it's like this one village where everyone has a bow and arrow and they know how to use it. And the other village, no one's ever seen a bow and arrow in their lives. So you go to the other village and they think you're some kind of crazy god with your bow and arrow skills. And yeah, it's a good analogy, I think.
Yeah, though, I mean, they do one thing really, really well in terms of how they actually set up lines and prevent people from standing in line that I'm going to really try. It's Monday, May 29th, and this is Geeknights. I have just returned from Animazement, and as it is the holiday, and in addition we are both very tired from the weekend, today is somewhat of a cop-out episode. Though we do have a fairly interesting discussion on patents during the news bits. For any and all of our new listeners who are coming here looking for actual coverage of Animazement, it will be on Wednesday, which is our normal anime day.
Let's do this.
I am back from a crazy-ass weekend. I'm absolutely exhausted. I flew in early afternoon on a little prop plane puddle jumper that took me back to Stewart Airport, and then I slept until I heard Scott come home.
I came home well before you awoke, and you were still sleeping, so...
Well, I was awake, and then I went back to sleep.
No, because I came in the house, and you were completely knocked out.